this meeting to order of the Commission on Disability Issues for December, was 13th, but is now 20th, 2017, from Larkin City Hall. And first, I'd like to roll call, please. Starting from
Kathleen Mozak-Betts, Commissioner.
Larry Keeler, Commissioner and acting temporary chair.
Matthew Solomon, Commissioner.
Alison Stroud, Commissioner.
Tim Hall, Commissioner.
Okay, now that next on our thing is to approve the agenda. Need somebody to move for that?
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All right, we have an agenda. The third thing we got here is approval of our November minutes from last month. Would anybody like to approve that?
I move to approve the minutes.
Larry, this is Heather. No decisions can be made if there's no.
That's correct.
So just keep that in mind for your meeting. But, you guys, next time.
We do have 5, right? Is that, no,
Yeah.
is that a quorum
Yeah.
for us?
Yeah, I
Okay.
just said I would go clarify with the.
Yeah, because I think 5 is a quorum for us. I
Okay.
thought it was more than that. So, is anybody seconding the minutes then? From November, can we do that?
Got 5 voting members, so you guys are good.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's what I thought.
The closed captioning is not on, so Allison is having a challenging time.
Oh,
Is there a way to get information back to the person?
that, I don't, should I just walk back there?
Is the closed captioning not on?
The closed captioning's not on.
Okay.
And I think that's messing us up down here. Yeah, Heather's, it's being checked on currently. These little things you forget about.
They're working on the closed captioning right now. He tested it and it worked, so he's not sure why it's not showing up now, but he's working on it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep,
Thank you, Heather.
bye you guys,
Bye.
have a good holiday.
Okay.
So do we continue or do we wait? Do we continue or do we wait for the closed captioning to be fixed or?
Larry, I think it's fine to continue as long as we have one person speak at a time. Okay?
Okay,
If that could be done.
so there was a move to approve the November minutes? And was there a second on that?
I'll second it.
Any discussion on them?
I don't have anything.
It's not a comment relevant to the meeting minutes, but I just want to let you know that the captions are on now.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and our first presentation, we're at presentations, and our first presentation goes to,
Did we approve that? But I can't even find the minutes
we
anywhere.
can't find the November minutes?
Yeah. I don't think they're online anywhere.
There's some right here on the center.
Oh, is there some on the center there? Yeah, she brought some in, so they're probably up there, Tim.
Yeah.
Give you time to look at them.
Okay, I don't see any issues. Did we
Are they approved?
motion to approve? All in favor?
Yes, all in favor of approving the minutes.
Aye.
Hi.
Any Anybody not? Okay, that's done. Now, the presentations are from, first one is Katie from the Ann Arbor District Library.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Katie.
Thanks for having me today. Unfortunately, I do not have an events brochure for you all today. They're not back from the printers yet. So I was unable to bring that. I will tell you about a couple of things that are coming up, though. First of all, I want to go over our holiday hours at the AADL. We're going to be closed on Sunday and Monday, December 24th and 25th. And also, we will be closed on Saturday and Sunday, December 30th and 31st, and Monday, January 1st. So it's a little bit longer closing time than we usually experience during the holidays because we are revamping our website. And so our team just needs a little bit more time to get everything changed over. We do have one public event left for the month of December. We'll be making DIY snow globes at the Traverwood branch on Thursday, December 28th from 7 to 8 p.m. So that should be a pretty fun craft for everybody if you're interested in that kind of thing. And then an event that I saw that was coming up next month that I thought might be of interest, it is to me, is on Wednesday, January 10th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at the downtown library. We'll be inviting Dr. Nishath Hakim to discuss premature aging and how to avoid growing old before your time. She's going to talk about nutrition, hormone levels, chronic inflammation, and many other things that contribute to premature aging. So we'll see you there if that's something you're interested in. And then, as usual, I scanned the shelves for something that might be pertinent and found a couple of books that I thought were really great. This first one is called Beauty is a Verb, The New Poetry of Disability. And I've actually just been flipping through this a little bit because it's not just poetry. There's poetry in here, but there are also personal essays, essays on life, and essays on writing, too. So if you're all interested in writing, and in particular writing about disability, this book is excellent. I really am enjoying it and will spend a little bit more time with it myself. The other book that I picked up is one that's been around for a little bit but is still really good. This is the Job Search Handbook for people with disabilities. There's a lot of stuff in here that everybody needs to know when you're applying for a job, like common interview questions, how to make a resume, those kind of things. But there's also additional information in here about employment laws and your rights. There's also a list of employers who are known to recruit and hire people with disabilities in here. So if you're looking for a new job to start the new year, this might be something that you want to check out. Both of these books are available from the Ann Arbor District Library and the WLBPD on digital cartridge. So give us a call if you'd like us to send those out, and you're a member of the Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Physically Disabled. And I have a couple of more things related to the Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Physically Disabled. One of the things is that the National Library Service is introducing a new accessory to use for the digital talking book machines. It is a breath switch. So if anybody's unable to operate the machine with their hands, we do have a breath switch available. Just give us a call and we can get one of those sent out. I believe it requires a special application, but shouldn't be too difficult to get that filled out as well. And also from the NLS Library of Congress, they have a new blog. It's called Music Notes. And so this is a blog that really highlights a lot of their Braille material. They've got Braille music scores and then Braille books about music. There's also some large print. So the web address is a little convoluted, but I suggest Googling National Library Service Music Notes, and that'll take you right to the link that'll take you to the blog. So if you're interested in music, that's a good one. And then finally, we have The 2018 large print calendars have come out. These are available to any of our patrons free of charge. Just need to give us a call and we'll get one out to you. And just a reminder, you can contact us via email at wlbpd@aadl.org, by phone at 734-327-4224, or visit our website at wlbpd.aadl.org. Do we have any questions? All right, Larry.
Actually, yeah, I do, of course.
You always do.
Even sitting up here, I got questions.
What's up?
Do they have available, do you know if they have available a guide to learn to read Braille music? And if you can keep one down there at the library? I used to read it years ago. I'm a flute player, I am. And I used to
Now-
read it years and years ago, but I forgot how to read it.
I'm not sure. That's a really good question. That'd be something that we can definitely look up for you. If I had to guess, would say yes. There would be something about how to read Braille music, but again, I don't know 100% as to whether or not we would keep that at the library. We would not. We don't keep Braille volumes at the library. They're just too large, but we would send it directly to your house if you wanted. And you could keep it there for a little bit at least.
Yeah.
Yep. Kathleen?
My question is a general public question.
Sure.
If somebody in the public feels that they qualify, or I shouldn't say qualify, but need the services of your blind and physically disabled library, how would the public show their interest? Is there a particular application process, or do they just talk to a librarian?
There is an application process, but what's great about our application is that somebody can just call us and fill it out over the phone. So it doesn't need to be printed out, doesn't need to be mailed in. You can do that, and you can get an application from our website, but the easiest way to do it is for somebody to call. And actually, it doesn't even need to be the person who needs the service. A family member could call if that is easier, and we'll just fill out the application over the phone. The application needs to be signed by a certifying authority, but a librarian counts, and we have those. So,
Oh, I didn't
yeah.
know a librarian counted. I thought you had to have a doc or whatever to do it.
You do for a physically based reading disability, such as dyslexia. Any
Yeah.
other disability, a librarian can sign off on. And so we've got all that right in-house, so you can do it all over the phone.
Beautiful, that's good information.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? All right, thanks a lot, guys.
All right, our next presentation is Carolyn Growy from Center for Independent Living. I don't know how to address you anymore, Carolyn.
Excuse me. Sorry to interrupt again, but I just want to let you know that the caption is also, again, heavy difficulties with the caption, so just maybe I could look at you and only you when you're talking anyway. And I'll inform everyone where the captioners are back on, but I just wanted to inform everyone that the captions are off, and I may be slow in responding, if anything. Thank you.
Okay. Before I begin, is there somebody coming in from CTN to see about the captioning?
Is somebody coming in, or, go?
There's somebody at the door, so they just pulled Allison away, so maybe we should wait for a second, because she certainly can't read lips when she's not facing. Nor can anybody. I'll do my best to not put my hands in front of my mouth, which is how everybody in the community who's watching can know that the captioning is not being blocked, or that the reading lips portion is not being blocked. Is it coming back on? No.
Continue.
Okay. So yes, I'm Carolyn Growy. Until tomorrow, I'm the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living's Executive Director. The board and I have come to an unagreed upon future contract, and so I will be needing to make a different decision in my life for my own security, and so I will be leaving the state of Michigan, actually, not just Ann Arbor CIO. And so I'm very sorry to say that. I have been very involved in this community for 32 years. And in fact, in 1990, I was in the seat that Larry's presently sitting in, with this room a little bit different formatted. But I was on the commission and then later a chair of the commission, a co-chair, and had 2 terms of that, and was very pleased to be able to volunteer that time here with the city. I've been very fortunate to be allowed to be the vibrant person that I am and be engaged in our community, and it's been very important to me to continue to see the growth that's happened here. And whether Carolyn's in Ann Arbor or Carolyn is anywhere else, there will be that opportunity for other community members who are watching, or other folks on the commission, or other folks who come to use the services of the Center for Independent Living, to be able to support that work and continue to grow the work of the center. I don't have other detail of that I can share at this time, but I just want to make sure that we know that. I do want to invite you to meet one of our new employees, which is Sophie Skochalak. Sophie can come up. Sophie has joined our center in the last few weeks, and she is one of our nursing facility outreach coordinators, and so she's working to assist individuals who are in nursing facilities presently, who may be on Medicaid, and they get to choose their choice, because of course independent living is all about making your own personal choices. And so Sophie is working in that department and learning about doing those pieces so that our community members can have change. She recently assisted in transitioning somebody who had been in a nursing facility for 4.5 years, and they're now out on their own, and then is assisting another individual to get a ramp on their home who was released from an institution that did not have a ramp to be able to get in and out of their home. So we're really proud of the work that she's already begun doing in a very short amount of time. And we wanted to make sure that we got to introduce her. I also want to just let you know that Alex Gossage will be our interim director. So he's currently our associate director. So starting on Friday, he will be the interim executive director, handling the business for the organization and working with our board to move things forward. We do have some events that are yet to come this year, such as tonight. We have Diversibility Theater, which is from 5 to 7. There will also be some theater that will take place during the winter break. The center itself is closed from the 22nd at 5 through January 2nd when we reopen. However, there will be some theater that will be happening, and people are welcome to look at our website, which is www.annarborcil.org, and be able to see when those activities are happening during that week of break from the general activities of the center. When we return, though, in January, of course, that first Wednesday, there will be Diversibility Theater from 5 to 7, so that will resume. We also will have art resume that Thursday and Friday, which will be from 1 to 3, and then typically throughout January on Monday, Thursdays, and Fridays from 1 to 3, we will have open art. On January 11th at the center from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m., we will have youth programs for youth transition. So there will be training for adults, the caregivers or parents in the community who have teenagers who are transitioning to learn about Social Security, disability income, and SSI, Social Security income. And as well, then the youth will be learning that day about voter rights that they have, and everybody who was able to get out and be part of voting this past November was able to see the new technology that has been purchased for the state. And if you have questions about use of that technology, certainly being able to reach out here to the city clerk to ask your questions, or on the day that you vote, because the next election, of course, will be in May. Any of your poll workers should all be trained already on how to use that assistive technology to cast your ballot. And so that is something that will be happening. And then one of the things that the center does, and we try to keep promoting to everybody, is all the outreach that we do. And we're going to be having an informational continental breakfast and coffee on Wednesday, January 17th at 10 a.m. and you have some opportunity to learn about advocacy, employment, information and referral, housing, peer mentoring, independent living, social security, and youth services. So there'll be some stations to meet some of the staff and be able to walk around and get to know the center. Again, that'll be January 17th at the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living, which is 3941 Research Park Drive. And if you have questions at all for anything that I've stated, you're welcome again to visit our website at www.annarborcil.org, or you're welcome to write to info@aacil.org, or you're also welcome to call us at 734-417-7, I'm going to give out my number. That would be horrible. Sorry, everybody. It would be wonderful to hear from the community, but I don't need every phone call come to me. The information number, sorry about that, for our center is 734-971-0277. Again, the phone number for the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living is 734-971-0277. If there is anybody out in the community, though, that would like to reach me and has information to talk to me about that's other than the center itself, you're welcome to reach me at cgrawi, CGRAWI, @gmail.com, and I'll be happy to try to communicate with folks that way. But that's some of the different things that we have going on right at the moment. And of course, we will have more things that will be appearing, and either Sophie or somebody else from the center will be your new liaison. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them, or Sophie would be happy to answer anything as well.
To the best of my ability.
I haven't a question, but I do have to say that since I moved here in '86, and when I moved in here, you were just starting to do all this. I always heard good stuff about you, and I've always respected what you've the so I think the next person is going to have some awful big shoes that takes over for you.
Well, thank you, Larry. I appreciate that. I have been quite involved and engaged since '85 in this community. I agree. Yeah.
Can I add? Carolyn, I think I would like to take a few minutes to say thank you for all of the things that you have done for the city. And I know as you continue to move on, you will still be remembered fondly as one of the most ferocious advocates for the disability community and disability rights. And you'll be leaving a pretty empty spot at the CIO, because I can't imagine another person during your time at the CIO that has done as much as you have, the level of passion that you have displayed. So I think we all can look up to you as one of the most powerful persons who have made history in the Ann Arbor disability right.
Wow. Well, thank you very much, Allison. I would say that maybe it's not that I'm powerful, but that I'm persistent. And the reason I say that is that the only power that we all have is that we share together. And I'll just say the line that I've been saying all over town of late anyway, which is we got a whole lot of holes that we need to fill, and we got to put a lot of W's in there to have the whole community. And when we have the whole community with WHOLE, we'll be a much better place. And I look forward to the day when we don't need to be advocates anymore, and that we're able to continue to work and live and play and be part of society like everybody else without having to fight for our rights or fight for what's correct in employment or in community living, or may it be in a cultural center, or wherever it is that we are working to be part of those factions of society. And it's been a joy to be here, and it's been a joy to work with the commission. It's been a joy to work with all of the partners and community members that I have throughout the number of years. So I'm very thankful to that. So thank you for sharing what you shared as well. And I don't know if there's any other questions or comments, but I do have one more announcement to share with you if there's nothing else. Does anybody have any other questions about the center or for me? No? Okay, I just want to share, because I know it's not on the public agenda for today's meeting, but this morning, our community was made aware of a loss of somebody who was also a very strong advocate, a strong peer, a strong independent woman who lived her life to her fullest and contributed much to the community's success. And so I just want to take a moment to recognize Peg Ball, who passed away this morning. And in January, there will be a memorial service that will be run. We have not been told the details of that yet, but as soon as it is announced, I'm certain it'll be on our website, and you'll be able to find it from other places as well. But Peg will remember you. You were a strong and vibrant person yourself, and we all learned much from you when you were here.
Me again. I'm sitting here raising my hand, and I'm supposed to be the ones looking for hands raised. But no, that's why I'm pretty somber today, because I saw that this morning on my Facebook, and she was, without people like you and Peg, I would have never been sitting here even for a minute. She taught me a whole lot of stuff in Kalamazoo back in the early 80s when I was just like 18, 19, 20 years old out of school. She taught me a whole lot about what it was to advocate and be independent, and live independently. So, yeah.
Peg was a
And
strong
and if when you know, you got my number. So when you know, please give me a call.
Yeah. Well, I will also pass that along back to the center, because since
Okay.
I won't be here in state, but if I hear it out of state, I'm certainly happy to pass things back. But yes, I will make sure that information is shared. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. I hope everybody has happy, safe holidays, and see you in the new year.
Thank you, Karen.
All right, our next item is public comment. And not seeing anybody out there, do I hear anybody out there for public comment?
No.
Guess there's no public comment. So we start with old business, and we start with the chair report, and the chair, she is not here. But she wanted us to go over the calendar for next, you guys all have the calendar for next year. And that would be, the calendar is January 17th, February 21st, March 21st, April 18th, May 16th, June 20th, September 19th, October 17th, November 14th, and December 19th. And of course, we have July and August off. And we also want to talk about this amendment. We were, maybe, I think I'll get to that in the recruiting part. But she also says, have a good holiday, and get to it. We'll see you next year, is what she says.
Does she want discussion on it, or a vote, or?
Well, no, I don't, do we want to discuss the, she didn't say anything about discussing it, she just made it up for next year for the, that other thing is,
Okay, so the calendar is the calendar.
I think we can put that in business.
Okay.
I'm a little confused. Are we talking about voting on the calendar, or?
Well, I guess we could.
I don't think we need to vote on the
I don't think we
calendar.
need to vote either. I think that's what she's put up for next day, because, then again, we can change it, when it comes along like we have. But there is a little item down the road here.
Okay.
We had a choice of where to put it, I think, and I'm gonna put it in a different spot. So, the Community Engagement Committee, or the Community Engagement, which is, you, Allison, isn't it? No, Community Engagement is Rebecca, and she's not here. And so, anybody speaking for her, or nothing from Community Engagement?
I have to say, I'm not aware of what's happening with the community engagement at this point, but we can have Rebecca share her activity report in the January meeting.
Right. And the next thing on our list would be Ann Arbor Inclusive. If anybody knows about, Zach also is not here. Zach Damon is also not here, so does anybody know anything about what's going on with that?
No, and I think it might be a good idea to add a suggestion to the next month item to say that if you're not going to be here for the meeting and you are a chair of the subcommittee, it would be helpful to provide a report, either to Sally by email or to another person that could provide that report for the chair of the subcommittee.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I was sort of asking to see if there was anybody representing the,
Okay.
because I knew Zach wasn't going to be here, but I wondered if anybody's representing him.
Yeah, so it should be a requirement, I would think.
Okay, so now we're down to Partners in Access.
If that's me,
I think that's you.
we did not have our meeting last Wednesday due to weather, and because of snowy condition, it was not safe for people to come to the city hall. And so I attempted to reconnect with the representative of the Downtown Development Authority to see if we could reschedule our Partners in Access meeting to this week, but unfortunately, they are not available this week or next week. So I think I will suggest to everybody on this commission today that if there's no pressing issue to discuss regarding the accessibility of the city in general, I would say that meet in January. So our next meeting is on January 10th at 5:15 p.m. in the council rec room for anyone who is interested in attending. And we will hopefully have the representative from the Downtown Development Authority to provide updates about parking accessibility in Ann Arbor and any upcoming activities that the DDA will implement in the next several months regarding the safety and accessibility of parking in Ann Arbor. And also, we will continue our conversation of the Nobody activity. And speaking of this Nobody activity, they are working through the Micro Grant version 2 proposal. And they recently had a meeting on Friday with Howard Lazarus to talk about the grant. And I have to get more updates from Lisa Brush, who is on the board of Nobody. I attended the meeting, but only for a very brief time because I had to be at work that day. So I will try to get information about that and provide additional updates about the activity this January. I will continue to have conversations about other ongoing activities. Does anyone have any questions for me at this point? It's a pretty empty report, but we'll have more information to share in the next month.
I guess I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what the function of that committee is and what its sort of areas of engagement are with the community?
Yes, to briefly describe it, the Partners in Access Committee, as a subcommittee of the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues, we deal with accessibility issues in the city, and oftentimes we wait for any issue to be reported by citizens of Ann Arbor, but we are also looking out for any potential issue of accessibility to make sure that we do the work that we can with any other city authority, such as the Downtown Development Authority and neighborhood association, any kind of organizations that are involved with city activities or that are performing their duties within the city limit to work together in order to improve the accessibility of the city, not just for people who have disabilities, but for the community as a whole.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we to meet every second Wednesday evening at 5:15 in the council workroom. And you are encouraged to come. And if you have any issues that you've been struggling with in regard to accessibility, you're more than welcome to come and be a part of that subcommittee. And I could tell you that one of the accomplishments that we had in the last year or so is we were able to help the city council pass ordinance, the closed captioning ordinance, that requires public establishment to provide closed captioning on the TV. Any TVs that have their feature available on their device. I'm not a technology person, so I'm not sure how to describe it, but as long as the TVs have their feature ability to provide closed caption, they're required to provide that.
That's great.
So we're involved with these kinds of things. And if nobody's project is something that we're working to in order to improve the pedestrian accessibility during the winter. And there are people who have reported that they are not able to keep up with the requirement of the snow removal ordinance. So we're working with nobody in order to be able to help provide or expand snow removal assistance for people who are in the aging population or who have mobility disabilities that are preventing them from shoveling the snow out of the sidewalk in the driveway. Does that
Wonderful.
help you? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
that's marvelous.
Yeah, we have a lot going on, so feel free to come and be a part of these activities.
Second Wednesday, 5:15,
Yeah,
council workroom.
yeah, right there, next to the conference
there.
chamber.
Great, thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome to email me if you have any more questions.
I will.
Okay, I am finished with my report. Unless anyone has any comment or questions for me? No? Okay, thank you.
Well, excuse me, forgot the city personnel report, but we're not having one. Heather is not here. She did stop by and drop off our paperwork, though. So the next thing on our list is recruiting committee. That would be recruiting activity, and that would be me. And I don't know if you got the new language for the bylaw suggested in there. If you don't, I'll read it. And we're wanting to change the definition of disability so that we can get more, have an opportunity for more people to be on this commission without jeopardizing the fact that it is a disability commission. In other words, we want to just define the definition of disability to include those who work with people with disabilities. And did that make a packet? That didn't make a packet for anybody?
No.
Okay, the suggested changes, Sally and I met with Mr. Chris Frost, and we discussed this, and we're talking about if the commission wants to put it through. And the change would be that at least 9 members of the 13 on the commission on disabilities be reserved for persons who have a disability, or excuse me, who have I'm terrible at reading out loud, who have a disclosed disability as defined in the Federal Americans with Disabilities Act 41, USC Section 12102. As amended, and this is where who are, as amended, okay, who are a parent, legal guardian, or caretaker of a person with a disability, or whose primary profession is to care for persons with disabilities. That would be the language we want to change. And this would allow us to have people who teach people with disabilities, people who caretake. It would broaden our definition a little bit. Have I bored you to death with trying to read that, or did you get the gist of it?
Yes.
I'm just a terrible reader.
No, you haven't burned out to that, and I think it may be a good idea to bring this up again in the January meeting, because I think it's important for us to have had it included in the packet, in order for us to have been a little bit more prepared to talk about it. And that way, at the next meeting in January, we will hopefully have more people be available to attend, and hopefully no bad weather preventing people from coming to the city hall. So I think I would propose that we push this back to January to allow more time for discussion and us to think about it.
May I just also add a point, which is to say that that definition, as I understood it, would allow the possibility that at some future date there would be 0 people with disclosed disabilities on this commission. If I understood the wording correctly, that would be a possibility. If I'm mistaken, please correct me.
I don't think so. I think that's a possibility that we
You
should
know-
discuss in the January meeting.
You know, you could be right, man. You could be right.
Yeah.
I see where there could be a loophole in that.
It's more than a loophole. I would suggest that it's a sort of seismic shift in what this commission composition is about. And from a fairly uneducated standpoint, I would be quite opposed to that, at least that wording. That would allow for potentially an entire commission of individuals who are either related or work with people with disabilities, but who don't actually have disclosed disabilities themselves. I think that's maybe, as I understand it, again, as a neophyte, goes strongly against what this commission seems to be all about.
Yeah, I think that definitely seems to be an issue there, that yes, they could, if we just allow it blanket, that for people who are related to or work with people with disabilities, then they all could be that. And I think maybe if you want to do this, look at maybe setting one number of people with disabilities, and maybe that might be less than what we have now, but higher than 0, and another number of additional people who can be in this who can be either people with disabilities or people in that category.
So am I hearing, though, that we want to table this subject until next month when everybody gets a chance to look at this and
May I suggest that we revise it prior to that along the lines that Tim has suggested, which is to revise the suggested change to have some staggered numbers that would allow a greater number of people without disclosed disabilities, but who nevertheless work or are related to people with disabilities, and then still preserve some number of the commission that must be citizens with disclosed disabilities.
I think it would be a good idea for you, Matthew, to provide that revision to the statement and share it with everybody, because I think as long as we have the proposed amendment provided in the packet, I think if you could add your comment in addition to that packet, and anyone who wants to provide revision to that packet would be helpful, because I think that would help us take into consideration the revisions that we want to add in, and take some time to mull it over. And by having the access to these revisions, we will hopefully be more efficient in our discussion.
I'd be happy to do that. Just if someone could inform me who I should provide that.
Okay.
What I will suggest is 7 of the 13 to retain a majority of people with disclosed disabilities. That would be my suggestion. I'm happy to rewrite or provide a suggested language. I just need to know who to send that
What's
to.
the
Okay.
current number?
9?
the current number is 9. It was going to be taken down to 7 at one point, but I was one of the ones who objected to that. I would buy 8. And then
fine with me, too.
Sally and I were working on this, and the attorney, the city attorney, and if you want, Matt, we can contact you, and you can work with us?
Gladly.
I would be interested as well.
So it sounds like,
Okay.
I would say, it sounds like there aren't enough interested people that would like to be involved. So maybe you and Shelley could extend the invitation across the commission to attend the meeting, maybe, if it's not too many people to talk about it.
Or form a temporary committee, even a temporary bylaw committee like we
ad
have
hoc
before.
committee. I would say an ad hoc committee, an ad hoc
Yeah.
bylaw committee
Yeah,
would be
I'll-
okay. Does that sound okay, Larry? It may be a good idea to extend the invitation to the commissioners, all of the commissioners, just to allow them an opportunity to attend. But if it turns out that too many people want to attend, I think that's up to you, Shelley, how you want to handle that. Okay?
Here's here's what I was thinking. Now what was I thinking? Okay. Yeah, I like that idea. I lost track of my thought. I was listening to you and lost track of my thought, but I wanted to put together a committee. Oh, I think we should probably vote on putting that committee together, shouldn't we? And somebody would, I don't know if I could make a motion for being up here, even though I'm temporary, but I would have somebody propose that we put a ad hoc bylaw committee together to hash this out and bring the results to the commission, and then we'll vote on it as a whole body then. So if anybody wants to make that motion, go for it.
So moved.
Second?
I'm thinking.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I was told I could vote, so. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Now I gotta figure out where we were at.
We're now at Transportation Commission.
Oh, yeah, we're at transportation, and that would be you, Commissioner Hall.
Yeah, so we talked basically about last week about the crosswalk ordinance and in general, like as far as our recommendation was to keep it as is, but perhaps look at various ways to better publicize and it seems like they're working on that, and there was gonna be some more discussion about that at today's meeting, though I don't know if it's gonna happen now looking at the agenda, but also, yeah, they're going to be discussing some other things at the next meeting, like the Ann Arbor Airport and I think some revisions to the non-motorized transportation plan, but yeah, I think the big thing was that recommendation they passed, and I think they sent it back to city council because they're the ones who initiated it with their resolution. I'm done.
Okay, you're done. Any questions for Mr. Hall here? Next thing is Ms. Kathleen here with the U of M Disability Concerns Council.
Yes, and so I want to make a correction. This is the report on the meetings for the December meeting that took place at the University of Michigan Council for Disability Concerns on Tuesday, December 12th. There were several announcements, one of which Danielle Ellman is with the Michigan Medicine Adaptive Sports Program, and they presented a wheelchair basketball clinic for children ages 5 through 18. It was held on 12/9/2017, and hopefully out of that we will see more. There seemed to be a lot of wonderful interest. The Army-Navy wheelchair basketball game will be held at the Chrysler Arena on January 27th, 2018. The tip-off will be 5 p.m. This has been organized and by Gerald Hoff, one of the members of the council, since 2006. And as I know more, I don't know if there is an admission fee or if it's free to all. That portion is not here in the minutes, so I will have to get back with you on that. Another large announcement was Jack Bernard, who has been council chair for the past 17 years, retired. And he was presented with a plaque, and it's noted that on the plaque not only was the wording as you would see on a normal plaque, but there was also Braille on this plaque on the bottom of his award, so that was kind of exciting. Jack spoke about his role on the council. He first attended in around 1993, and then as chairperson of 17 years. His successor will be Stephanie Rosen. Stephanie is an accessibility specialist at the University of Michigan Library, and she will chair the first meeting in January, which will take place on January 9th, 2018. And the last item agenda was Fred Wurtzel, who was the second vice president and youth coordinator of the National Federation of the Blind of Michigan, presented his proposal for visually impaired individuals working with autonomous vehicles. And he called for a mini conference. They're looking at late spring 2018. The other thing on the agenda that Fred spoke about was the National Federation for the Blind Michigan has issued a travel advisory for the Detroit airport. Michigan has the only segregated bus stop for persons with disabilities in the United States. He says full information about the travel advisory is available on their homepage for the NFB Michigan, which is http://nfbmi.org. So, and that concludes my report. Yes.
Kathleen, do you know if his, do you have a copy of his, Fred's thing, or can I get it from nfbmi.org?
I would get it from NFB.
Okay, I'll take a look. Well, if not, I know Fred pretty well, so I'll give him I'll just.
He did,
Yeah,
I
just-
can give you his phone number, it's just that I didn't know that if he wanted his
Right.
phone number
No,
given
I
to
think
the
I
public.
may even have it. I may even have it. If I can, I'll just email him and get it.
So,
But I was just curious, because I hadn't, I'm still involved with National Federation of the Blind, but I haven't heard from him. I haven't been involved as I used to be, so I
Okay.
wanted to see his proposal. I thought that him and Anna had already straightened that out down there at the airport, but I guess not.
Oh, no, it's an ongoing, and it would be nice, one of the things that he stresses, while the council is very active and other organizations, I believe one of the veterans organizations have gone down to the meetings, but he can't stress enough that all persons with disabilities are affected by what is happening at the airport, and it would be nice to see other organizations or individuals attending the meetings, so it just doesn't look like just the National Federation for the Blind is the one who has the issue with it. We should all take issue with what is happening at the airport.
Quick question, Catherine. Thank you for that report, which was very, very useful to me. Is Jack Bernard retiring altogether, or is simply retiring from the
No,
committee?
he's still counsel at the university. He's just leaving as chairperson of the Disability Council.
Anything else? Okay,
I have a
under
question,
announcement.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I have a question for Kathleen. So when Jack mentioned that he wants other organizations or other people with disabilities to advocate for the desegregation of the bus stop, was there a possibility thinking in your head maybe that the commission could write another letter of support? Or do you have any thoughts about how we as a commission could support the effort?
I'm not sure. I'm new at all of this, and if it kind of crosses political stuff, so I'm not really sure, but it was Fred Wurtzel from the NFB who was the one who asked, and I don't know. Larry, do you know?
Allison, I remember about, I think a year back, remember when Anna was still here? We did write a letter of support for that.
We did.
We did write a letter of support.
We did.
Now-
I'm just asking if we want to write another letter of support. Or can we maybe do something more?
I
Other commission.
don't know if we can do anything more, partly because it's not in the city. I don't know how much more we can do as a
Okay.
commission. I think we did about as much as we can do for that area. I mean,
Okay.
if Sally has any other ideas or knows anything through council, we could maybe do it, but I'm not aware.
Okay, thank you. Just a question.
It was a very good
It
question.
was a very, very good question, yeah. So now we're to announcements, and I've got one. We now have 2 new commissioners. We have Matt Sullivan, who is attending right here, and we have Nicholas, and I'm not even gonna pronounce his last name until I hear him pronounce it, but he should be joining us next month. So welcome to the new commissioners. I'm not the, if I haven't put you guys to sleep already, I'm sure Sally won't next month. So welcome, guys. Thank you. And, okay, here's new business, and the only thing I've got on new business is we have a proposal to change the meeting time. And I brought it up last month, and we're gonna talk about it again, because some of the people that do attend the commission have jobs that are either, in with the school system, or jobs that, maybe it's a little bit later, gives people a little more time. And right now, we run right now, our time start is at 3:15. And our ending time, which we set a couple years back, is at 5:30, so we can go no longer than 5:30. So the new proposal that I came up with last month was to start our meetings at 4 and go no later than 6. And if we vote on this and it passes, it'll take effect on January 17th. So I don't know if I can propose this thing, or if you guys can have to repropose it. But that's the deal. 4 to 6 would be our time.
Shouldn't there be an open for discussion?
Yes, we can, well, if you,
Yeah, maybe someone could just
if
move.
we move and approve it, then we go into discussion.
No, we would move it and then discuss it and then vote on it.
That's right, yeah. Oh, yeah, I got the general, we gotta pass it first, we gotta move it first.
We don't have to pat,
No, I know, we gotta move it first.
that's Congress.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I'd never make a good politician. So, anybody wanna move? Or can I do it? I think I might be able to do it. I'm not true, so I guess, I think in this case I could. So I move that we amend our starting time to 4 o'clock, with our ending time being no later than 6 o'clock.
Second?
Discussion. Any discussion?
I'm okay with this. It actually makes my schedule a little bit easier because I also work during the day. But I'm open to discuss it if anyone has any concerns about it.
I can do either time. So it really doesn't matter to me, but I've noticed that a lot of times people, such as yourself, Allison, would be a little bit late because you get stuck in traffic coming from work, or people that, like one of our commissioners that was formerly on the commission that's back now, had issues getting here on time because they had to travel elsewhere and try to get here by 3:15, and, sometimes pull it at 3:45 because of traffic. So I would support it.
I would be fine with it. My concern is that our city council representative is not here. It may impact But he's not a voting member, but he should be able to speak, or is he a voting member?
He's not a voting member.
But he should be able to have at least a little bit of dialogue, and there are several other key people who are not here. I would feel more comfortable not voting today and voting in January.
Does that mean we have the January meeting on the old schedule, or do we say that?
Yes,
That
that's,
would mean the January meeting would be on the old schedule.
but
And,
that's
go ahead.
just how I feel. I'm not saying that's in stone, that's my input.
I think our chairperson indicated that she wanted to see if she could sort of get a vote in as soon as possible, and I don't, but yeah, you're right, there are key people I would be in favor of voting on it today. Anybody else would do you want to,
I mean, there's some wisdom in putting it off, as was pointed out, especially given the city council schedule, potential conflicts there.
Yeah, I guess we don't know what the city council's committee, or do we know? Does someone know? I mean, I guess, yeah, like,
so,
I have a question. Has there been any discussion in regards to the schedule? I mean, Tim brought up a good point about conflicts with other organizations. Has that already been looked into to determine that the change in the meeting time does not conflict with other organizations' meetings? Because I think that there are meetings held in this council chamber sometime or often on Wednesday evening.
as far as I'm aware of, the only conflict would have been if we had pushed it later into the transportation meeting, but
Okay.
if,
yeah, I mean, I think we could have gone a little later, but like not much past like about 4:30 or so, like.
well, at least we're generating discussion on it. So, and I see there's enough points of view that I would at least be in favor if someone else would be. I mean, I could vote on it today, but I would also be in favor of tabling the thing until we get the opinion from city council and from the our city council rep.
May I add? The other concern I would have, while they're not voting members, we do have the Ann Arbor District Library that comes and visits us, and we will be having a new representative from the AACIL coming.
Oh, that
And will
is
that
true.
affect whether they may be able to come and even present at all? So I would like to propose that someone volunteer to get that information to have for the next meeting.
The library staff and who else?
The AACIL, which
Correct.
will impact them in being able to come and bring their reports to the table to us. Those are, to me, those are concerns.
I think those are valid concerns.
I'll contact the library. And I'll try to find out who to contact I'll contact Center for Independent Living too. They said they were open, oh no, they're closed all next week, aren't they?
Yes.
So they're closed all next week. So at the beginning of the year, I'll contact them. And I'll contact the library sooner than that. And see if they wouldn't mind presenting it 4 or quarter after. Because it would probably fall about 4:15 that both, it'd fall somewhere around 4:15 to 4:30 where they would present.
Right.
So I'll get together and ask if they can send, if their representatives would be able to do that by then. And then we can bring that information to the January 17th meeting and then discuss on it and decide then. So that would mean though that the December 17th, or the March, next year's January 17th would be at 3:15 as normal.
Yeah, though I think we would have to approve that because we haven't approved dates for anything past today, so we would have to explicitly approve that.
You think we would, since it's on the calendar, because we usually don't, we don't usually approve the calendar, do we?
No, we don't.
I've never remembered approving the calendar. And since my understanding would be, since that we're not changing the time, that we don't have to put out any notice yet, that, I mean, because I think as far as I know, we've always had the calendar presented to us and we've never voted on it. I think we've had, unless there's been some really obvious conflict in, like, let's say, somebody knew they were gonna be somewhere in June 20th and couldn't make it, but we haven't had that issue so far. So I think if we don't change it, we just don't have to vote on it. We'll just have to vote to table this till next month, till we get further information.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering because I know that, yeah, like the Transportation Committee actually presented a list of dates to us and the city council does that too, so I kind of figured we did it as well.
Yeah. Well,
So I'd like to make a proposal then, or make a motion that we table this until the January meeting. And then at that time, you will bring the information with regards to the CIL and the AADL, and then we can talk, have discussion, and vote then.
I would second that proposal if I need to second it. And I would also like to add there, the information there, someone who volunteered to get the information should have that information added to the packet. So that way, everyone is aware of what information that we could discuss during the meeting.
to be clear, Allison, you're talking about the information from the library and the information from the AACIL?
And any other potential conflict that we may have to consider. Because that way, if that information is intact and available to everybody, then we all would have that information
Agreed.
in advance and be able to discuss it.
Are we done with discussion, and are we going to, should I call the question about whether to table it? I think I will. I'll call the question. All in favor of tabling this issue till next, oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying aye.
Oh. I was saying, all in favor of tabling this until the January 17th meeting, and further information, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that's taken care of then. Okay, is there any other new business? I don't have any on here, but is there any other new business that somebody would want to bring up?
Well, there is this resolution to approve letter of opposition.
That is going to happen next month.
Okay,
We discussed that, and I think it was still on there, because that wasn't put in our packet either.
yeah, I don't think anything was put in our packet aside from
Yeah,
that.
I was surprised that this bylaw thing wasn't in there too. So,
Sally had actually sent out an email saying that the issue would not be discussed at this
yeah,
meeting.
she did, she sent out an email for that one, but she didn't send it out for the bylaw thing.
Okay.
But she didn't send out the bylaws in the packet either, the bylaw change in the packet either, which I think should have been there, but
Okay.
that's a different issue. So any other new business?
No, I think that is it.
Well, then I guess the meeting is adjourned at 4:25. And have a good holiday, everybody.